What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the Breakdown Sportscast. I'm your host, Kory Willis. I hope everyone is doing well on a Monday. Had a chance to watch a lot of football over the weekend. Spent a lot of time with friends and family watching all the games. So yeah, I really hope you all enjoyed the weekend. As always, we appreciate you guys listening in on the show. As always, if you want to listen in on the show, we're on many different streaming platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Amazon Music, and Amazon Audible, iHeartRadio, and many other streaming platforms out there. So we very much love you guys listening in on the show. And as always, feel free to let us know how we're doing, of course. Like, comment, and subscribe to the show. Yeah, all of that good stuff. It lets us know what we're doing and how we can improve for the future. So we very much appreciate it. As always, I'm here with my good friend and co-host. He is Chris Bolton. What's going on, Chris?
What's going on with you, Kory? How we feeling? I'm feeling good.
We are feeling good. I'm feeling so good right now, Chris. I smell like money. I think we know why. You know, even for the listeners out there that probably, took our advice, took your advice, good sir, on the Friday show. They probably, made a couple of dollars before they paid.
A few pretty pennies, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes, sir. I'm feeling great, But besides the betting end of things, we had some great games, and we had some interesting outcomes, and a lot of outcomes that some stuff I predicted, some stuff you predicted as well. It's a really good week for the pod, and it's time to recap it all.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead into it, folks. Of course, we had one of the biggest games in the Big Ten this year. We had Ohio State going to Wisconsin to take on the Badgers. This game was pretty close, of course, at first, but Ohio State ended up running away with the game. And they defeated the Badgers 24-10. So Ohio State is now 8-0, and Wisconsin is now 5-3. Ohio State's looking strong heading into the first college football playoff rankings, which comes out this Tuesday. So they're looking strong, but overall. Kyle McCord, there was sometimes he made some good plays, but for the most part, it wasn't a complete game.
It wasn't because of Kyle McCord that they won.
Yeah. Oh no. No. I think we all know why they won this game, and it was because of Marvin Harrison Jr. Of course, a man that. In this game, he had 6 receptions, 123 yards, folks, and 2 touchdowns. Just a great game by him. And a guy that we had talked about, Chris, on the show, and we've talked about him many different times. Well, he's just so dominant. He's almost unstoppable.
He's a specimen, a beast. You know what I'm saying? We talked about his bio. You know what I'm saying? So
it's beast.
Beast. That's it right there. It just says beast. You see his stats. You see, okay, that's why he's a beast. Yeah. But Marvin Harrison Jr. was spectacular, and so was this Ohio State defense. You know what I'm saying? Right. The defense held Wisconsin to 10 points. The Badgers didn't even crack over 100 rushing yards for the game. They had only 259 total yards, 165 in the air, 94 on the ground. It's tough. You're not going to win many games when your offense can't produce. Ohio State, despite their struggles offensively at times with McCord, and this offense isn't necessarily spectacular. They almost had 10 more first downs than Wisconsin. They had 23 compared to Wisconsin 14. So they did just enough on offense, but like you said, man, this game was all about Marvin Harrison Jr. and it was all about Ohio State's defense. And this is the kind of game we said it was going to be on our Friday show.
Absolutely.
We straight up said the defense, Ohio State is going to win games off the back of their defense, and that continued in this one. And Wisconsin couldn't get anything going. It wasn't the prettiest game. I'm pretty sure a lot of people probably didn't watch this game all the way through. I checked it out at times, but it wasn't easy on the eyes, to say the least. But Ohio State's defense was the real deal and made some timely key plays, forcing a huge turnover in this ball game. And also, Wisconsin wasn't able to execute when they had opportunity in the red zone. A nice screen pass drawed up, but the receiver's knee was down, so it wasn't a touchdown. Became a field goal. That's a big play in the grand scheme of things. So Wisconsin couldn't make enough plays to overcome, what is I think we can very well say is an elite Ohio State defense. It's one of the better defenses in the nation.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, when you just look at how their season has been, that defense is a bright spot of this Ohio State team. They're just resilient, and they definitely keep games close with opposing teams. So, and hey, still we still give kudos to their offense whenever they can make plays, of course. And it wasn't just Marvin Harrison Jr., Travion Henderson, which is a great running back in college football. Mm-hmm. I'd say he's probably one of my favorite running backs in today's game right now. He had a good day as well. 24 carries, 162 yards, and a touchdown to the touchdown sealing that pretty much sealed the game for him. Mm-hmm. So whenever this defense does step up, and they step up a lot of times, it helps. It definitely helps out their offense as well. But yeah, they really turned it up a notch to hold Brayton Locke, which former Mississippi State player Brayton Locke and company, to just 10 points. So they took care of business, and now they're chucking along. Now that we're hitting closer and closer to the first rankings of the CFP, so I'm interested to see how that happens this Tuesday.
For sure. Something I think we both will agree on is, at this point in the season, you want your team to know who they are. And I feel like we know the identity of this Ohio State team, and it's a team that is going to win games defensively. We said it on Friday's show. Alabama, they're one of those teams where they have their defense has been on point this season, and that's the same thing for Ohio State. I think they know who they are, and they will get the ball to Marvin Harrison Jr. They'll get the ball in Henderson's hands, and they're going to rely on their defense to hold opponents to less than 20 points. And that's their formula. You know what I'm saying? That's their recipe. Their secret sauce that ain't so secret. You know, that's how they're gonna go out here and win ball games. And it might not be the prettiest. It ain't like how it's been of late with Ohio State teams, but it's been effective. And that's all I feel like, head coach Ryan Day can ask for at this point. He just wants to win. It doesn't matter how pretty it is or how ugly it is. He's in it to win it and trying to get a national championship at Ohio State.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at this point, I mean, we talk about all the time. You are who you are after a midway point through the season. And I mean,
we're in November now, basically.
We're well into that.
Spooky season is wrapped up. Halloween, coming up, but we're basically might as well say, when we talk college football, when these teams play again, it's going to be November.
Right. And they only have a couple of games left. I know, like the next biggest game for Ohio State should be that Michigan game coming up.
It's a whole lot more interesting now with what's going on in Michigan.
Yeah. And the Buckeyes is as they always do. They're circling that game, of course. Once that time gets here on November the 25th. So this team right now, I'd say they definitely have one of the better defenses, if not the best defense in college football today. And hey, defense wins you championships, as people have said through history. And this might be the Ohio State team that can win a championship, possibly because of their defense. They've accepted the challenge,
baby.
Yep.
Shout out to Coach Tressel.
Yep. Exactly.
One of the best days. It's one of those defenses, man.
I'm telling you, and it's working for them. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they can close out the rest of the season and go
for sure. They will need Kyle McCord to take a leap and win them a ball game or two. You can only rely on the defense so long, I feel like, in today's college football. So they will need their quarterback to grow up and have a game where he plays, honestly, great football. Not just a good game, but have a great game. Because all defenses, it's only a matter of time, I feel like, before the defense has a day where they need their offense to, kind of go blow for blow, and it becomes like a 31-27 or 34-31 kind of game where the defense makes timely stops. But to depend on this defense to hold their opponents to less than 20 points all the time, that is asking for a lot.
It is. It is. I'm interested to see how they can pull this off. But, after so long, you do need to generate a explosive offense to get you far. Of course, once you're in the college football playoffs, and I'm not saying that it's a sure lock that Ohio State still gets in it, but from what it seems like, they have been playing well enough where they can make a case. But let's say if they get by the rest of the stretch of games that they have, and they can get into that CFP, I want to see what Kyle McCord can actually do with this offense and with the weapons he has to make a run at it. Because there's going to be a lot of teams out there, like your Washingtons, Oregon, who we'll talk about in just a minute. These are teams that are very explosive. Texas. I can go on and on. Georgia, Alabama's figuring some things out.
Yeah.
Don't behold, but
Michigan.
Michigan. It's so many different teams out there that they have it right with their offense. Can Ohio State get there? We'll see. But yeah, that's I'm definitely with you on that, Chris. I would love to see what happens going forward with this team. So they have about 4 games left. The next game for them is at Rutgers. That should be a win. Michigan State, Minnesota at home, and then they have to go to the Big House. So yeah,
that Michigan State game gonna get ugly.
Oh yeah. Yeah, look, Spartan fans, if you know the season that you've been having so far with your coach leaving, and
they already know it too. We ain't even got to warn them; they already know what's coming with that game.
Exactly. You might as well just take the switch off the tree right now.
Yeah.
just hand it to Ryan Day.
Here you go. I'll just go ahead and take my 3 licks.
Yep, exactly. Oh my gosh! But anything else you want to add to this game, Chris? Before we move on.
No sir. We can keep it trucking along.
All right. Well, yeah. So Ohio State got the victory in that game over the weekend, and now we will head over to Salt Lake City, Utah, where the Utah Utes hosted the Oregon Ducks over the weekend. And this game, Chris, got ugly.
It did.
Bo Nix and company put a shellacking on Utah, and they won this game 35-6. Great game by Bo Nix, of course. He was 24 for 31, 248 yards through the air with 2 touchdowns. Bucky Irvin, he had 14 carries, 83 yards, and a touchdown in this game. Troy Franklin was their leading receiver. He had 8 receptions for 99 yards and 1 touchdown as well. So just a dominant performance by Oregon. They spread it out the ball about as much as they could in this game, and yeah, it worked wonders for them. So they got the W. They are now 7-1. Oregon is, and Utah is now 6-2. And from what it seems like, everything should still be in front of Oregon to still try to make a run at the playoffs now. Don't you think, Chris?
Everything is still in front for this team. This game, honestly, it went exactly how I thought it was going to go. When I watched Oregon, I guess maybe this is a TikTok moment, or something. This is my hot take, but I think Oregon is one of the 2 best teams in the nation when I watch them play. Mm-hmm. They may have lost to Washington, but I feel like they are right there. I would have it, Georgia, Oregon, Michigan as the big 3 in college football of the best teams. I know Oregon hasn't lost. They lost on the road to Washington. But I struggle to find a more complete team than this Oregon team when you watch college football. Bo Nix has been sensational and is in the Heisman running for a reason. Makes the right reads, makes big plays, and takes care of the football. Troy Franklin is one of the better receivers in the nation. Bucky Irving just makes everybody miss when they try to tackle him. He's been a menace. The offensive line, defensive lines are physical. The whole team is just tough. And they went to Salt Lake and asserted their will against the Utes and scored in 3 of their first 4 drives and made a statement, quieted that place. It was kind of on cruise control for the rest of the game, but they have everything they want to accomplish is in front of them still. Got to take care of business and win out in the regular season and go get that Pac-12 championship. And I feel like if they do that, they are in the college football playoff. And I don't know if anybody wants to play them. I really don't think teams want to play Oregon. They are the real deal.
Yeah, like well, for the most part, we've said it all season so far, Chris. That Bo Nix, he plays. He's been playing lights out this season. He played very well last season. We knew that he was going to light up the charts and really showcase why he is a Heisman contender. But overall, with that offense being so good, with Bo Nix at quarterback and Bucky Irvin and all of these pieces that they have, that defense has been also the leading heroes in this Oregon team. So I can definitely understand why people would put a Oregon team in the top three of the first season.
That's how I would look at the. I would do a power ranking. Like if everybody was on a neutral site, I'm struggling to pick someone to beat Oregon. Maybe Georgia. I still even personally think myself Oregon would beat Michigan. As impressive they have looked at times this year and they have played. There are teams with better resumes. Florida State has a better resume.
Yeah.
And they deserve to be ranked ahead of Oregon. But just straight up, everybody get on the field. We're at the Cotton Bowl, you know what I'm saying? Playing neutral site. Give me Oregon. That's just me personally. But they got some work to do still to get their way in the college football playoff. But this win goes a long way in keeping their hopes and dreams and that goal alive.
Yeah, agreed. This team, they have that total package. They have every right I see for them to be in that top four by the end of the season. But they still have a mountain to climb through as we're wrapping up the season, as we're getting closer. Let me go ahead and pull up just their schedule so we can see what game. So the next game is against Cal. That should be a W.
Risky Cal team.
Yeah. I will
it
say
should
that
be a W, but
it
Cal
should
is
be
a frisky team. Can't overlook them.
No, you can't.
Ask USC.
Yeah, just ask USC, which is their next game after Cal. So, like knowing that USC over the weekend they took care of Cal, like that's also a team that they can't overlook because Caleb Williams is still a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback that can beat you, of course. So you can't overlook that game. At Arizona State, November the 18th, and then you wrap it up with Oregon State. So everything is still in front of them as long as they can mentally take these last four games week to week, and
sure.
Capitalize off of that and not get complacent. Which, of course, Dan Lannon's going to relate that to his team.
Him. I don't expect him to come out complacent.
No, not at all. Because if they do, then we got some problems. That's all I'm saying.
He's honestly becoming one of my favorite coaches. You can just feel his energy when he speaks, and this team, the best teams are a reflection of their coach.
Yeah.
And I feel like this team is definitely a reflection of him and his mentality and his staff's efforts when it comes to game planning and prepping and how they go about business, because they are a team that's about business. Very aggressive, tough team. So I enjoy watching Oregon. I expect them to continue to do what they do. And on the Utah side of things, they've done well for themselves, despite not having their starting quarterback. Um, they've been making a way, relying on the defense. They're one of the better rushing teams, and they got shut down on the ground. I mean, this was a very impressive win by Oregon. We'll see how Utah bounces back. Um, this is, I believe, what, their second loss of the season.
Yes, this is their second loss of the season.
So we'll see how the Utes, how they close out the year. But I mean, crazy as it sounds, I mean, there's still a chance they can make the Pac-12 championship. There's a possibility you could have a two-loss team in the championship game. Washington isn't by any means perfect. They have had their cage rattled the last few weeks.
That they
hasn't. You know what I'm saying? It has not been easy for Washington by any means. So they are not unbeatable and unstoppable force. They struggle to run the football at times. They've been very reliant on Michael Penix's arm, and that almost came back to bite them with him getting a late game red zone interception late in the fourth quarter when the team was on the verge of cementing the ball game and gave Stanford life. So anything can still happen this last month of college football, especially in the Pac-12. My goodness, the Pac-12 is that's just an insane conference right now.
Yeah, it is. Like you mentioned, teams like Stanford, of course. While they're way out of contention, of course, these are teams that have found life at times, of course, and
very, very, very competent ball club. Honestly, Kory, they should have beat Washington. They were trailing with the ball late by a couple points, and fourth down, they go for it. They're coached out of the perfect play to where the wide receiver, it was like a halfback pass. Wide receiver was wide open, and the pass was there, just a little short, but still very much catchable. Hit the receiver in the hands, and he was so open that he dropped it.
Wow.
And that's how Stanford lost. Washington is truly probably still praying right now as we speak, thanking God that they won that game. Like, they really survived. And this isn't the only time they survived. They survived against Arizona State. That was a ball game. They didn't have an offensive touchdown. They didn't have a touchdown on offense. The Heisman Trophy front runner Michael Penix did not score a touchdown in that ball game. Like, they have truly gutted out some wins. So anything can happen still in the Pac-12. I'll put it like that.
Yeah, this team is. This league is about as wide open as it's ever been. Like, when was the last time the Pac-12 was this wide open? I can't even think about
just top to bottom, an extremely deep league. Like, even the bad teams, like Arizona State that has one win that we just talked about, was right there against the top team in the conference. A Stanford that only has 2 wins. They have one of the more dynamic passing attacks in college football when you watch them at times. They really can fill it up and make some big dynamic plays. So this is not a league that you can take a week off. Very, very much SEC vibes in the Pac-12 this season.
Yeah. It's definitely getting interesting now in the Pac-12, and I think that's one of the reasons why this season is so important for this league as it's winding down, because everyone, like, college football isn't going to look the same when you have these teams spread out the way that they're about to be. Like, things are about to.
I'm so sick about that too.
I know. It really makes you irritated when you see how well the Pac-12 is doing, and knowing that it's just gonna go.
This
away
is it
next year. Right?
Yeah.
This is it, folks. So. So yeah, from top to bottom, you're definitely right, Chris. This league is as amazing as we've been saying it is all season, and yeah, it's got 4 more games to go, and that's not even counting championship games and playoff appearances that could be on the horizon for this league. So, yeah, we're definitely going to see what happens with the rest of the league. But as for Oregon, I definitely agree with you. Like you said earlier, a great win from top to bottom. This team has all of the tools to be very successful, and we're just gonna see what happens going forward.
Yes, we will. So, should be a fun finish. We're heading down the backstretch. Since I've been living in Kentucky the last couple of years, I understand the horse racing terminology. So we're heading down the backstretch, and we'll see who crosses the finish line. But yeah, it's like you said, it's right there for Oregon, man. They just gotta go out there and take it. Like, they literally have to take it. With that loss to Washington on their resume.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, anything else you want to add to the Oregon Utah game, partner, before we move on?
No, sir. We can move on, because speaking of taking away the victory from the grips of their opponent, from their claws. That's what this team we're about to talk about did.
Oh my God! So as you've been living out in the bluegrass state for several years now, Chris. I'm living down here in the Lone Star state. I live around all of these Longhorn fans, all of these legacy Longhorn people out here.
I know they are grinning from ear to ear.
That is, you all right, but that is a understatement as well. So these fans are just
elated,
happy, just jubilated, right?
Yes.
That what we saw over the weekend actually transpired. And that is where I have to head down to Kansas, where the Kansas Jayhawks they upset Oklahoma 38-33. Yes, I am not joking, people. That happened. This game was I can't even explain how ridiculous this game was, just because there was some defensive stops, of course, that happened in this game. But my gosh, like,
you had a weather delay, Kory.
Yeah, we had a weather.
They had to get everybody out of there. You know what I'm saying? It was. There was a whole weather delay. Like, they didn't play football for like 35 minutes.
And then when it came out, everyone just decided to just be like, look, we'll throw the football, but we are running this football down each other's throats. And that's what happened in this game. Like, I'm just looking at the stats right now.
Yes. Tell the people the stats, because it was a sight to see.
So for Oklahoma, and and I'm saying this right now, like there were no passing touchdowns in this game, folks. This game was literally like a game back in the 60s where we are running this ball down people's throats. Oklahoma had a combined 5 touchdowns rushing, while Kansas had a combined 4 touchdowns rushing. They also got a defensive touchdown as well from Mello Dotson. So, yeah, from the weather delay to just coming out, just saying, like, hey, look, we running this ball in the trenches, and
Yes.
that's what you got, folks. And you got a remarkable game from it that resulted in Kansas upsetting Oklahoma. So, hey, Texas is looking at that loss from Oklahoma now, and they're probably a little angry, just because they knew that they should have had beat Oklahoma, but hey, at the same time, it is probably a little funny to them to know that
for sure
got beat by Kansas, which is a really good team at the end of the day.
Kansas is a really good team. Kansas was right there, gave Texas a good ball game when those two teams met up. But it's so the irony in this game, Oklahoma has struggled to run the football this year. They have struggled to run the football. They've been very reliant on Dylan Gabriel, his arm and legs. Mm-hmm. He has been the driving force a lot of times for this rushing attack.
Yeah.
This game, they actually could run the football, and they lost. The dramatic irony. It's crazy that they ran the ball for over 200 yards, had over 100 yards from their tailback, still end up losing this game. And it's because Gabriel did not look like the player that we saw in the Cotton Bowl.
No.
That was a spectacular performance he had in that game. And he was not such in this one. Now, maybe the elements had something to do with it. I don't think the stage was too big at all. He performed on the big stage and had, like I said, the best game of his career. But this game, he didn't have it. He just simply didn't have it, Kory. He had a bad pick six on an out route that he threw a late pass. Out routes, 3-step drop, 1, 2, 3, boom. You know what I'm saying? You got to get it out there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you hold it for one more count, you giving the defensive back time to jump that route, and that's exactly what happened. He held it one count too long and one extra pat before letting it go. And that's the difference of this ball game. That was the pick six that truly gave Kansas the life and the juice that they needed to be able to pull off this upset. It happened early, in the first half, and Kansas kept going step for step, punch for punch with Oklahoma. And eventually, you get a touchdown the last minute of the ball game to take the win, to seal the deal and get the win. So credit to the Jayhawks for making Oklahoma play their game. You know what I'm saying? Like, we knew Kansas could run the football going into this game. But the Oklahoma wasn't able to be that high-powered, over-the-top offense that they normally are with offensive coordinator Jeff Lebby calling the plays. So I think that was a difference. The difference in this game is that they made Oklahoma adapt to, I guess, the elements. You could say the running game was working, but it kind of played into Kansas, to Kansas hands and the kind of game they wanted. Limit possessions, see who can ultimately get the last touchdown, who has the ball last is going to win. And Kansas got the ball and had a very nice drive to close the game and get the victory.
Yeah, they that Mello Dotson interception definitely set the tone for Kansas in this football game, and with Dylan Gabriel. When he does make good throws, he makes exceptional throws. But sometimes there are those moments where he doesn't make that right read, of course, and that's just something that he just definitely needs to work on. As you can see from the stats, of course, nothing's wrong with his legs. Of course,
his two legs were just fine.
he scored him 3 touchdowns in the football game, but you need more than that to really prepare your teams to victory. And he has weapons out there in the receiver position. Drake Stoops is a pretty good receiver out there. Brennan Thompson. Sure. I mean, we talk about Brennan Thompson. He's also really good. Farouk, Jalil Farouk. I mean, these are capable
good
wide receivers. He does have to become a better passer for this OU offense, and we just didn't see it on Saturday, and as a result, it really put them in a pickle, I'd say. And Kansas, they pretty much capitalized off of it, and hey, hats off to them. So
without their starting quarterback,
without their starting quarterback, and Jason Bean, he's still out there holding it down for Kansas right now. So it's definitely one of those games where Brent Venables wishes he could take it back for his team. It could start over like a video game, but hey,
he might think that, but we always keep it a band on this show. That scent, that upset scent, that stench, that smell, it was merry. It was that aroma. It was in the room. You know what I'm saying? You could see the writing on the wall for Oklahoma upset. They just escaped UCF last week. You know what I'm saying? That one could have very well been a loss for them too. So that was kind of the precursor to what went down this weekend.
Yeah, and I never said anything about it, Chris, because it scared me. I was like, man, you always see those teams where they win that big game that they're not supposed to win. They're riding high, and then the next week they kind of have that lull. They kind of celebrate a little bit too much, and you always think about, like, could this be the week that they just mess all of that momentum up by not being prepared after winning a big game? And you just kind of think about that a lot of times with some teams. Like, are they coming in a little bit too high on their horse? You never know what they're thinking, but they escaped with a W in that game, and they very well could have lost. So for me, I was just like, this can't be them, right? And then you get to this game in Kansas.
They got exposed a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm sure there were some things Kansas saw on that film. They're like, okay, noted. And, they made it happen. They finished what UCF couldn't. So, man, shout out to Kansas.
Yeah.
On a huge win and continuing to play really good football this season. Like I said, they're similar to Utah, man. Just Daniels can't stay healthy. And it does make you wonder what could have been if they had Daniels for maybe the Texas game. But this team has shown that they can pull off the big win, like they just did, despite not having their stud quarterback. So Kansas is not a team you want to overlook. Look, whenever if you have them on your schedule coming up soon. So big credit to Jayhawks, man. Jayhawk fast, as my guy Brett Hudson, would like to say. They did their thing, man. They did their thing.
Yeah, yeah, they did, and now their last 4 games of the season, I definitely think they're pretty manageable now. I mean, you got at Iowa State, which
that's going to be a good one.
Yeah, yeah. When you look at it now, that is going to be a really good game, and Iowa State, no behold, is pretty much tied.
They've been cooking, man. Ever since they had that tough start to the season, they are looking really good in conference play.
Yeah, they're tied for second in conference play, along with Oklahoma State, Texas, and in Kansas State. So, look, everything is in front of Kansas still.
Yeah. I mean, man, we talk about the Pac-12. The Big 12 has some hitters too, bro. Mm-hmm. Oklahoma State and Kansas State. Those 2 teams are the real deal.
Yeah,
they are for real. I'm sure we will talk about Oklahoma State in later this week for sure. But
we got Bedlam coming up.
We got Bedlam coming up, man. But this is the last Bedlam for a while, at least that we know of.
Yeah. I can't believe it.
That's gonna be crazy. I can't believe it either. That makes no sense. That is so bad. That is a beloved rivalry of mine. As a college football fan, we love Bedlam.
Mm-hmm.
Bedlam is, you gotta love Bedlam, man. Bedlam is Bedlam. So
it's gonna be rocking.
You can just only imagine. You can only imagine how turned up, juiced up Oklahoma State is going to be for that game, knowing that they won't see Oklahoma again in the meantime.
Yeah.
So that will be a classic. I'm gonna go ahead and call it now. That's gonna be a absolute thriller.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait for us to talk about that game this coming Friday. So it's gonna be interesting. We can't wait for y'all to listen to that show. But yeah, like everything is in front of Kansas. After
you said they got Iowa State. Who are the 3 after?
They have Texas Tech and Kansas State, both home games for them. Yeah,
both home games.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that Kansas State game. Ooh, that's gonna be tough, boy.
Yeah, that's gonna be a street fight right there.
Sure is. Kansas State. Look, records. You throw records away. You just look at teams play. The last month, man, Kansas State, you can make a case. They like one of the 15 best teams in the nation.
Mm-hmm.
They just thumped Houston 41-zip. 41-zip.
Hey, they're making it look easy out here.
So don't overlook Kansas State either. Mm-hmm. I'm sure we will talk about them later this week as well.
Oh yeah. We got enough room for
they got a big time game coming up too. I'm sure you are very aware of in the Long Star State.
Yes. I'm definitely ready to see what happens in that game. It's one of the weirdest games for UT fans, of course. When
if y'all are afraid, you have good reason to be. That's all I'm gonna say about it.
Yeah, absolutely, and hey, look, you gotta protect home field, UT. I know. Yeah, I know. And Kansas remembers what happened last season, so
yeah, yep.
They ain't trying to. They still see a lot of success in front of them. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Man.
but yeah, and then the last game, they Kansas caps off the regular season with Cincinnati. They have to go to Cincinnati, which they should win
Easy
that
money.
game. So.
Easy money. Yeah.
But yeah, hats off to Kansas getting the W against Oklahoma, and yeah, we'll definitely see what happens between both OU and Kansas. Can OU dust the shoulders off and figure this out throughout the rest of the season, or can Kansas work up some more magic with Jason Bean going forward? So sky's the limit for both teams. I still feel like. But this was a good game.
For sure.
Yeah. So, anything else you want to add to this game, Chris, before we move on to our last game?
Nah, we said it all, man. We can go ahead and move on.
All right.
Go back out west.
Yes, that we will do, sir. So we will cap today's show off back in the Pac-12, because this was a game that both me and you talked about, Chris, on our Friday show, where you actually had a prediction of this matchup on Bolton's bets. Am I right about that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And look, when it happened, I was just like, the prophecy has been written by the one true Christopher Bolton.
Oh man!
I mean,
appreciate it.
I mean, that's just what he does, folks. He's just that good at this.
I told y'all what Oregon was going to come to do, and I told y'all what Arizona was going to do. Man.
I'm telling you, like that. He knew it before we do. We just he was trying to steer us in the right direction, and look at us now. We're clapping our hands. We are bowing down to you, sir.
Ah man, don't do it. We're gonna show love to Arizona, man, because they put on a very good gutsy performance. You know what I'm saying? But yes, like you were saying, Arizona pulling off the home upset win over what was then the 11th ranked Oregon State. 11th ranked Oregon State.
Mm-hmm.
In a game that, if you was able to stay up and watch it, it was sure a good one. 27-24, Arizona got the dub over the Beavers. Man, this was a Pac-12 After Dark special. This was a very good game. It turned up at the end. You know, it was the battle of the defenses throughout. And then in the fourth quarter, the offenses just woke up and cranked it up. Both teams put up 14 apiece in the fourth quarter. Ultimately, though, it's Arizona that gets the win. Their quarterback, Noah Fafita, 275 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, he was spreading the ball all around, and Arizona is now 5-3 this season. But don't let the record fool you. This is a really good Arizona team that still might not be finished making noise and causing damage in the Pac-12. This is a really good team. I really like what I'm seeing from them. It's the reason I picked them. Like I gave my breakdown on Friday. They have a couple of overtime losses under their belt, and just lost to Washington by a touchdown. You know, they were just right there from getting that big win, and I feel like being at home, they could make that happen, and then the stars aligned and everything aligned for them to get the win. But this is a win that's been a long time coming for this team, and it's a big win for this Arizona program because they bring back a lot of pieces next season too. They still got a lot they can accomplish this year, but Arizona isn't going away anytime soon, Kory.
No, not at all. And looking at their last 4 games of the season, all of these games, you're still playing against some quality teams. Of course, UCLA is coming up this Saturday, and then
that's going to be a good one.
You still have Utah.
Mm-hmm. And I think they're in good shape against Utah.
Yeah.
We need to see if can Utah put up points. I know Arizona can, so we'll have to see how Utah kind of bounces back from Oregon. But yeah, that's a winnable game for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you got those 2 games alone that anything can happen in those.
There's a statement games too. If you win both of those games, even though you have 3 losses, I feel like Arizona would be a top 25 CFP poll team.
I think
you know what I'm saying? I think if you win both of those games, you'll be ranked in the top 25.
Yeah, I definitely think so. So, yeah, I mean, and then you have at Colorado, so you're gonna have a lot of eyeballs watching you with that game. Arizona State is your last game,
rivalry game,
your rivalry game, and
you can win out.
Arizona State, yeah. Sky's the limit. If they handle their business, they'll be a 9-3 football team.
They can very well be a 9-3 team. I think at the least, they split UCLA and Utah. I think at the least they split those 2. And I think they win against Colorado and Arizona. So you can have an 8-4 season in this year where the Pac-12 ain't no joke. And go on to play in a bowl game and possibly have a 9 or at best case a double-digit win season. Possibly getting 10 wins. We'll see. But bro, their starting quarterback is a freshman.
It's crazy.
It's not quarterback. Fafita is a freshman, man, and he's been very composed this season. Jonah Coleman, running back, sophomore. I'm gonna just go ahead and tell y'all right now, Arizona will be a ranked team next season. Like throughout this season, they will be a top 25 team, and they will be a threat in the Pac-12. They are still a threat this year, can very well maybe work their way to somehow being at the cusp of playing in the Pac-12 championship, or at least being high in the rankings in the Pac-12. But listen to me now. They are not going anywhere. Arizona is the real deal, and you do not want to overlook this team. This isn't the Arizona team you just might they ain't nobody. It's an easy win, you know what I'm saying? Just a little 5, 6, 7 win team. No, this team is the real deal for this season and for years to come. The future is bright there.
Yeah, and I know you had mentioned the Pac-12. So for next year, they're going to be a part of the Big 12 conference. Just remembered. So when you look at how the Big 12 stacks up, and with OU and Texas leaving, they're going to be coming in along with Colorado. I look at this Arizona team being most likely at the top of the Big 12. Who's going to stop?
They can have that kind of year where it's similar to how when Missouri entered the SEC, and like all of a sudden Missouri and Texas A&M were like, oh shoot, y'all are good. Like that first couple years they was in the SEC, they were right there in it. Even Missouri had a conference championship game appearance. So um, yeah, that's the kind of splash Arizona can make next season in the Big 12. I mean, when your core of star players, like standout guys, are freshmen and sophomores,
Hey.
and yeah,
It's a recipe for success, I'll tell you that much.
it surely is, man. It surely is, and you can tell these guys they really rock with each other. Like they are a team. When you see the mannerisms and just the camaraderie and the energy, that they have together. I feel confident that in today's college football that they they might not get poached. I think those guys might stick around at Arizona. So we'll look and see because it's very interesting. Everybody loves to try to ship off the next big thing that's at a program that's not normally hot and try to get him to a bigger school. Say they're going to transfer for NIL money or whatever. We'll see how things play out with this group. But if they can hold it together, if Arizona's head coach and their staff can hold the glue, the meat of this team together, they can very well, like you say, have a huge year next year. Year one in the Big 12.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And they can have a huge year to close out this year. They can very well be a 9-3 team.
Yeah. That with the hopes of getting that 10th win in the bowl game. It's everything is right there in front of them. They're getting better, and yeah, I'm interested to see can they pull this off. I think with the experience that these young guys are getting, Fafita and the running back that you just mentioned,
Coleman.
Coleman, like sky's the limit for this team. I think they could pull it off. So it's going to be interesting to see what Arizona can do finishing up this season.
For sure, I'll be tuned in. I I try to get eyes on like all the Pac-12 games this year. They just, like we said, we've already sung the praises of the conference. So it's some really good football going on there, and you're going to see some really good players. So I'm definitely going to be trying to watch these especially this UCLA game for sure coming up. See how that one plays out, because we talked about the potential of this young team, but there's also the reality of after a huge program season defining win like this. You already mentioned it before. You might be smelling yourself a little. The cologne might be a little stronger than it was before. You might be smelling yourself a little too much. And there's a chance you can get smacked that back down to reality. So I'm curious to see how this team responds to getting that big win. Normally, young teams, you kind of go through some growing pains, some lumps. They might get beat by UCLA, but if this team stays level-headed and follows up a huge win with another big win against another ranked conference foe, oh man, now we're really talking.
Yeah, and now we're cooking. Now we cooking with some real grease. So yeah,
fish fry ready grease, fish grease for sure.
They got the fish fry ready outside.
They got the hair, the hat hair. You know what I'm saying? The little hats, the bonnets you put on. The cafeteria ladies have on the apron, the gloves. They got the fish and the flour and the fish fry seasoned up. You know what I'm saying? Drop another piece, another fillet. Like we really cooking at that point.
Oh man, that's how prepared they are. That's definitely high prepared
They got
there.
the Louisiana hot sauce out there on the table
Oh
too,
my
ready for
gosh.
when the fish comes out. I mean, if they get that win, we own to something.
Oh yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, I'm so excited, Chris. I'm eager to see what happens with this Arizona football team through this 4 game stretch as we close up the season. But yeah, it was a great win for the Wildcats. For the Beavers, we'll see what happens with them. Can they figure something out late in the season? Of course, because I mean they still have Oregon and everything in front of them. So
Yeah, yeah.
and
That was a tough
Colorado
loss, but
coming up this Saturday. So
possible chance for bouncing back. I mean, Colorado has some guys, but they are still in the early stages of the Coach Prime era, so they're trying to figure things out on the go.
mm-hmm.
Um, Colorado can be exposed at the line of scrimmage. You know what I'm saying, with their undersized offensive line, so it might be an opportunity for a get back physical game for a good Oregon State team. Boys, like they got beat down. You know what I'm saying? They got beat in the waning moments of the fourth quarter. It was a close game. So
Right.
we'll see how they bounce back. But but yeah, it'll be interesting because Colorado wants to get back to winning too. So that'll definitely be a game that what I'm saying, have your eyes on.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they respond after losing the game like that over the weekend against Arizona. So, but we will be watching it. We will keep our eyes out to see what the Beavers do.
Yes, we'll keep our eyes peeled on what the Beavers do, and I don't know about you. I'm gonna keep my eyes peeled to see what information comes out of the state of South Carolina
Oh,
from the University of Clemson. From Clemson to be specific.
look,
Clemson University.
look, things are looking so good out there in Clemson land right now. I mean, what can you say?
The boy lost again. I brought it up. They was playing NC State. I said, hey, and they lost. Ooh, is it gonna, they got DJ up out of there, and DJ. I know Oregon State just lost, but they having a better season than Clemson.
Yeah. and not only that, Clem's got to play a Notre Dame team this coming Saturday. I mean, look, it doesn't stop. It just doesn't stop, Dabo. Like,
Boys, they 4-4 right now. They lost to Duke, Florida State, Miami, NC State. Now they gotta play Notre Dame.
and then after that,
Are they gonna play in a bowl game?
Look, I'm looking at this schedule right now, Chris.
I'm looking at it too. I'm looking at it with you.
There's just
It's up in the air. It's up in the air. Let's be real.
yeah, it is.
They can win these games, and they can lose these games. They could go 8-4. It's not impossible for them to win out. Or they can go 4-8. It's not outside the realm of possibility. They lose out either.
I just don't see. I just don't see Clemson doing it, but who knows? I mean, we've seen weirder things in college football, but
if you had to predict, looking at the 4 games they have next, they have a showdown against number 12 Notre Dame. Then You also host Georgia Tech. You host North Carolina. And you finish off the season with your rivalry game at South Carolina. What do you anticipate their end of the season record being?
I'm not gonna lie. I think they will be 5-7.
So you think they lose this week and to the Carolina schools? Or do you think and they beat Georgia Tech at home?
I think they'll lose the next 3 games,
And they'll beat South Carolina.
but beat South Carolina. I
If they
think they're just a better team, and I say slightly better team than South Carolina.
I get that. If your scenario plays out, brother, I think they lose out. I think this team loses all hope, all willpower.
You think the wheels fall off tracks?
Oh my goodness, if they lose the next. Did you? That would be. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight losses. Yeah. Oh boy, ain't no wheels on that car.
They're gonna be riding on hubcaps.
They be lucky to be having some hubcaps on there. They gonna be on a standstill. They ain't riding nowhere. They'll be going 4-8 if that happens. Man, they need to. The Georgia Tech game is critical. This game is critical too, but I really don't expect them to beat Notre Dame. I think they'll be 4-5. That Georgia Tech game, though, and Georgia Tech is a very good offensive team.
Hey,
Georgia Tech puts up points.
Look, I don't know what's come over Georgia Tech, but they are figuring out ways to be a dominant team. It's almost like Georgia Tech. They remind me of Arizona right now, where they're figuring some things out. They are figuring it out.
I can see that. Yes.
You know, they have a new coach as well. They're figuring some things out. Haynes King is he playing lights out right now for Georgia Tech. Like, I haven't seen a Georgia Tech team this dominant quite a while. Like they're playing lights out right now.
It's very interesting. And speaking of Georgia Tech, getting the win over, figuring it out. that movie we saw last year is playing in theaters again, Kory. North Carolina just lost another game after a hot start to the season. It's almost like we've seen this before. Oh man!
Look, sir, with your track record right now with bets and seeing the future with North Carolina right now, look, I'm walking with you anywhere, sir. You know the future more than I do, and any of us do. I'm listening to you now, Chris. I'm listening to you now.
I appreciate it, but yeah, it's so interesting, man, to see North Carolina like they got off to such a hot start, just like last year. That is a big win for Georgia Tech, man. Big win for Georgia Tech. The first year for their head coach. But man, college football, even the games that aren't the big time games, it's the gift that keeps on giving. There is so much playing out in front of us.
Yeah.
And on the college football landscape. I mean, it's a true joy. Sticking with the ACC, Miami and Virginia. That game went to OT. I watched that game. That Virginia is a good team.
They are.
Do not let that record fool you. And guess who they played this week?
Figuring some things out.
Guess who they played this week too?
Florida State.
Georgia Tech. Two teams figuring it out at the same time, both meeting up. Oh man, that game has no big time implications,
It
but I'm
doesn't.
gonna still find my way to watch it.
When does this game air? Oh my god, this is a 1 p.m. game on the CW network. Look, let me tell you something. Those CW network games are fun.
That's what
That's so
Miami and
weird.
Virginia was on.
That's so weird to watch them. I'm watching college football on the CW.
On the
I want
CW,
more
but
of this.
they have not been missing with their slate. I tell you that right now.
There's just like that lone game. It's like, look, if you ain't got cable, you got this game. We're gonna show you this game, and we're gonna promise you this might be sleeper
This
game of the week.
might be the best game of the weekend. Get your popcorn.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. But yeah, it's no. What a crazy weekend it was. You had Georgia beating down on Florida, of course. Figuring it out even without a Brock Bowers.
Lad McConkey. We said it Friday. They gonna get Lad the ball, and that was one of the first things they did. They got Lad the ball. He got the touchdown.
Look, man. At some point, you just gotta do what you gotta do. and Kirby Smart, he knew.
He knew. He knew.
He knew. So
He knew.
So yeah.
Great weekend, man.
Yeah, Georgia's riding high, and then all around, just a great weekend. But yeah, Chris, I will say before we head out, on Tuesday night we do have the first CFP poll. Do you have a top four to close out the show that you think is going to be in that top four?
I think you will see Georgia number one.
Mm-hmm.
You will see I'm curious to see how the CFP will play out, because I think Michigan should be like number two at least.
Mm-hmm.
But based off how dominant they've looked this year, I wonder how much the allegations, this investigation plays into the voters' minds. But
yeah,
Georgia, Michigan, Florida State, and I think you'll see Ohio State. Even though Washington has a premier win over Oregon, I think Ohio State's going to get that fourth spot just because of the fact Washington hasn't looked too hot like we detailed the last 2 weeks. And I think that will be a factor in the voters' minds.
Okay. For me, I of course I have Georgia 1.
That's my prediction for how I think they will be.
Yeah.
They will vote. Yeah.
Okay. For me, I have Georgia 1, Oregon 2.
Mm-hmm.
Ohio State.
I would love for Oregon to be 2.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ohio State 3 and Florida State 4. And I have Washington like right after, pretty much how it is right now, with the AP poll, where they're just at number 5. They're on that cusp, and it's mainly because of the game that they had this past weekend. And
for sure.
We're still trying to see, because we only have a handful of teams that are undefeated. I probably have Michigan right behind Washington right now, and then we'll see what the allegations of sign stealing and all that stuff is.
Right. I think, like I said before, I think Oregon is a top 2 team in the nation. I understand, though, with people's resumes and just, you kind of vote on how things have played out. Mm-hmm. I see Oregon probably being number 6 in the nation, but in my eyes, I think they're the second best team. But they got to go out there and prove it still. They got to go out there and win out. But
yeah.
I am very curious to see how the first playoff rankings look.
Yeah, me too. It's going to be interesting on Tuesday night to see.
Because they can look one way, and as we know, they will end up looking another when the season's over.
Look, people I know right now, they got their own rankings, just like we got our own rankings, and it's by Tuesday night, it's not gonna look anything like it.
Man, we know that all too well. Jeopardy question. Fun fact, people. The very first installment of the college football playoff poll. Guess who was the number one team the very first time it was released?
Well, Mississippi State team.
Mississippi State.
Who had that? who had that on the bingo cards on the whiteboards?
and they ain't make it in the playoff.
Right.
We'll put it like that.
Exactly. So you just never know. You just never know. Never know. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens on Tuesday night. I know both of us will be watching, and we'll probably be having plenty of dialogue
for sure
on Twitter. But yeah, before we head out, Chris, go ahead and let the good folks know where they can find you on social media.
You can find me on Twitter at Chris_Bolton_12 and follow me on the gram on IG at Chris.Bolton_. And we can talk it all, man. College football, NFL, NBA, college hoops is tipping off. I mean, we can talk MLB. I love my baseball as well. We're in the trenches of the World Series. I mean, it's going down. So this is an incredible, just a chef's kiss of a time of year right now with everything playing out.
Absolutely. I definitely agree. So yeah, we got a lot of just great stuff all around going on with the World Series going on, and yeah, and we'll definitely see how all of the crazy stuff in sports shapes out. But yeah, for me, you can follow me on X as well. Everyone, at Listen to KSW. I'm on there talking college football, wrestling, video games, all of that good stuff. So be sure to follow me on there. But yeah, that's it for us, guys. We appreciate you all listening in on this show, and we will see you guys on Friday for our Week 10 prediction show. So
and another installment of Bolton's Bets.
Yes,
I got y'all.
Yes. So the prophecy known as Chris Bolton will be back with some more picks, y'all. So we definitely can't wait for that as well. But yeah, that's it for us, y'all. Everyone take care. Have a great week, and we will see you guys later on Friday. Peace.